Today's episode is brought to you by the Positively Productive Toolkit, a collection of workbooks that guide you through self-discovery and self-awareness. These self-guided workbooks, which include links to assessments, can be completed in minutes. Request this free resource and others at the positivelyproductive.com/resources page. When you become more mindful about an action, when you focus on the precise way it's performed and why it matters to you, it shifts from habit to ritual. The research is clear that you need both. Routine without ritual can feel hollow. Ritual without routine doesn't always stick either. Together, they create something sustainable and meaningful. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zawrotny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa. And if you're doing all the right things, setting up routines, trying to build habits, but they're just not sticking, keep listening. You're getting things done, you have systems, you show up, but underneath all of that structure, it also feels a bit mechanical, like you're moving through a checklist rather than actually living inside your life. There's a reason for it and a way through it. What's missing isn't more structure, it's meaning inside the structure you already have. Today, we're talking about the difference between rituals and routines, why you need both, and how to build ritual into what you're already doing without starting over or adding more to your plate. Let's start with defining the terms, especially because these two words get used interchangeably. A routine is a sequence of actions you do consistently. It's functional. It keeps life running. Wake up, make coffee, check the calendar, walk the dog, sit down to work, close out the day. Routines are the architecture of a productive life, and they're genuinely valuable. They reduce decision fatigue. They build momentum. They create the kind of reliable structure that makes your difficult days more manageable and makes you move through more efficiently. They're the structure that builds the habits you need to create the change you want and the consistency you want. A ritual is something different. A ritual is defined by how and why you do it, not just what you do. It's intentional and personal. It's the layer of meaning that transforms the mechanical into something that actually feels like you and something you want to keep doing. Harvard Business School professor Michael Norton, who wrote The Ritual Effect, puts it this way. When you become more mindful about an action, when you focus on the precise way it's performed and why it matters to you, it shifts from habit to ritual. The same behavior, experienced differently, becomes something that gives your day purpose instead of just structure. The research is clear that you need both. Routine without ritual can feel hollow. Ritual without routine doesn't always stick either. Together, they create something sustainable and meaningful. And that combination is what makes a system feel like yours, fit your life, and be effective. So, we talk about having both and maybe being short on one or the other. Here's how to tell the difference. If you feel like your days are productive but flat, if you're checking things off but not really feeling satisfied, not even sure you want to continue doing what you're doing, you probably have routines without enough ritual. The structure's there, but it doesn't feel connected to anything. It doesn't feel connected to you. You're doing the thing, but you're not really in it. Now, if you have meaningful intentions, but things keep falling apart, you're not getting done what you need to get done. If you start strong and then lose consistency, you might have the ritual down, but not enough routine. The meaning is there, but there's no reliable container to hold it. Inspiration without structure tends to run out. And if you've just come through a flexible or open season, summer, a break, a transition, any stretch of time where things have shifted a lot on you, you might be without either, so you'll want to rebuild both together. Let's talk about how to find the balance of both to make the most of your days, starting with ritual. The good news is you don't need to build from zero. Ritual doesn't require a new practice. It requires a new relationship with an existing one. I worked with a client who wanted to write a book, and the percentage of people who actually write books is pretty small. Lots of good intention, but very few who follow through, and she knew that she needed an accountability coach to help her do this. Now, she started strong. She had a general window of time set aside so that her routine existed. Great start. But she kept sitting down at her desk after a full day's work and staring at the screen. The problem wasn't her time or even her discipline. She's incredibly disciplined, juggling so many different things, family and running a business, and also wanting to do these passion projects. The problem was that nothing signaled to her brain that this was a different time to create. There was no transition, the environment was distracting, and there was no cue that said, this is different from the rest of your day. So we built a ritual around her routine. She still had the same nights that she was dedicated to doing this work. She made sure she had childcare in place, and she went into the same office where she works during the day because that's where all of her equipment was, and that's where she needed to work. She started making a specific tea that she only made during her writing time. She put on instrumental music, which she knew would work best for her. She shut down all of the equipment that she wasn't going to use, leaving on only the monitor that she would be writing with. She lit a favorite candle to change her workspace into a creative space, and also made sure that any files or things that related to her daytime work were packed away. She spent a few minutes reading a sentence or two from a book she loved, not to study it, but just to get into the language and cue her brain that it was time to be creative, and this was the kind of creativity that she was going to be doing. And then, after a deep breath, she opened up her documents to begin. She was working within the same time slot that she had before, yet she had a completely different experience. The ritual told her nervous system, this matters, this is different, and I'm ready. That's what ritual does. It creates a bridge between the rest of your life and the thing you're showing up to do. It creates a bridge between you and the thing you're showing up to do. I'll give you an example from my own life. Each time I sit down to journal, and this is a monthly journal that I do, I have the same space, same setup. I go to my bedroom for the quiet. I have an essential oil that helps shift me into a calmer headspace and kind of cue me into what I'm about to do. I make sure the lighting is soft but sufficient so that I can write. And I use a favorite journal. It's a beautiful teal Leuchtturm 1917. They're one of my favorite bullet journals. And I have a pen that I absolutely love that lets me write easily. I pull up the questions and intentions that I use every month for this same ritual, and then I work through them. I repeat the intentions and finish with a deep breath. The routine is the journaling. The ritual is everything that gets me into that moment, being fully present. Very similar to what we talk about with a mindfulness practice. That's really what ritual is. And it's the reason that I keep showing up to do it every month. It's become a habit, but that ritual connects me to it. If you want to experiment with this yourself, here are some steps to get started. Pick one routine you already work with. A morning practice, an end-of-day wind down, a weekly planning session, the way you start a workout, journaling, anything. Then ask what's missing that could make this more of a ritual, that could make you more present. Does the routine feel rushed, disconnected, like you started it without being ready, like you're just getting through it? What could make it feel more like yours? And that gap, the answers to those questions, that's where your ritual lives. Add a sensory element to help cue you in. It could be a specific scent like an essential oil or a candle. It could be a particular playlist. Music is a great way to get you into the energy of something that you're doing. It could be a favorite cup, a favorite drink, a special tool that signals the shift, a specific journal that you only use for this ritual and this routine. Your senses are faster than your thoughts, and they tell your brain what's happening before you've consciously decided, which is why things that you listen to, things that you smell, right? Even the visuals that you see in terms of the lighting are all so effective for this. So pick your favorite things and use those. Then set a brief intention. Really cue your brain for what you're trying to do here. Instead of rushing through it because you just got to get it done, you're being more present. Before you begin, you take a deep breath and name why this matters, why you're doing it. And this doesn't have to be profound. Any reason is fine as long as it's authentic. Sometimes it's as simple as, I'm doing this because I want to feel better and I think this is going to help. The point is to move from automatic to aware, from pushing through to present, right? Then keep it small enough to actually do. Don't get too complex with the routine or the ritual. A ritual that requires perfect conditions, that has too many steps, that's the kind that will collapse the moment that life gets busy and you get overwhelmed, just like any habit you're trying to create. You want to build in elements that work readily from one day to the next, no matter what's going on. If you're listening to this and you want to embrace this powerful combination, you need to not only think about what you want to accomplish and the steps to do it, but also the experience of it, which is why we focused on developing the ritual aspect. The routine part we talk about with habit development, which you can find in so many episodes of the podcast. Go to the podcast page of the positivelyproductive.com website and type in habit into the keyword search, and you will find lots of episodes where we talk about that. That routine part you do want to have down, but it's the focus of the ritual that matters. Think about how you want to feel, the experience of it, because that is the part that will carry you through. Look at one routine you already have and ask, what would make this feel more like mine? Think about your favorite things, the tools you like to use, the spaces you love most, the elements that make what you do more of what you want to do. When we use the word intentional, this is what we mean. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It needs to be specific to you and how you work. A small sensory cue, a brief moment of presence, a reason that lives inside you, not just on your to-do list. It's being connected to what you're doing. Now, this is the part where being influenced can actually work for you. With all the online sharing, all the influencers out there who do share for the express purpose of selling, of course, you are bound to find things that make what you do a bit more you, a bit more fun, to help you feel connected. Now, I'm not suggesting a shopping spree. We talk about decluttering all the time, so we want to be careful what we're buying. But sometimes the right tool can genuinely make a huge difference in what you do. My biz bestie has a keyboard she delights in using. She often messages me and says, I've been influenced, but it makes such a difference in her routine and her ritual. I love my Rocket book and how I can take notes forever and ever because I love taking notes, but I'm hurting fewer trees by doing it this way. And also I have an extra copy of those notes in PDF form, as well as a chance to review them anytime I need and process them in different ways. I like the functionality of it. I like the feel, and I like how it connects to my desire to be sustainable in this world. Even my headphones and my pod mic matter with regard to a ritual because they're not only part of the functional process of recording podcasts, but they also act as a visual cue, part of my ritual to shift over from regular business work to voice work. I have this really cool sign that my family got me that says on air. It's like this neon sign that lights up. And so part of my ritual for recording this podcast today included putting on the cans, which is what they call headphones, right? When you're in the booth, and closing the door, is having the light on so that everyone who's near me will know that I'm recording and I need quiet. It's a set of things that cue me in to the work that I'm going to do, which is different from the other coaching and content work that I do for my business. If you're curious about some of these favorite things that I'm talking about, you can go to the resources page of the positivelyproductive.com website and scroll down for lists that I have created of some of the favorite office supplies and podcasting gear and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check that out. I'm sure you have some things that you use and love. I'd be curious to know what those are. I always love sharing this kind of inspiration. And again, it's not because we want to keep buying all the things, but we do want to discover things that make what we're trying to accomplish feel that much better. If you already have things that you love using, let them work for you and make them part of your ritual. And while we're talking about resources, you might also appreciate episode 241 on how being cozy helps you be more productive. I share details about my office and what it looks like, the environment in which I get my best work done. The episode is fun, it involves twinkle lights, and it connects in a delightful way to what we're talking about today. With that, I will leave you with the encouragement to try this approach and to share your thoughts with me. I love hearing your feedback. Did it work? Are you challenged? Do you love this idea? Is this something you've already been doing successfully? Let me know. Find me on social media. If you're on my VIP list, simply hit reply to any email and I will reply back to you personally. I love hearing from you and exchanging ideas on how to make any aspect of productivity a bit more personalized. Keep working on those habits, those routines that help you get where you want to go. Keep those routines in place and remember it's the rituals that will make them yours. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. I hope this episode inspired you, and I encourage you to think about one action you can take based on today's topic. Then share it with me so I can cheer you on. Go to positivelyproductive.com to connect with me, read blog posts, and access links from each episode and download resources.